So I think the biggest challenge to governing cities is that cities are now the vanguard of problem solving in the world. And that presents two kinds of challenges. First, you need to have different sectors and stakeholders within cities. Government for sure, but also the private sector, philanthropy, universities come together and solve problems together. In many parts of the world, that kind of multi-sector, interdisciplinary collaboration hasn't really taken hold. And second, we now need a different way of financing cities, not just governing cities. And the instruments and institutions and intermediaries we have really harken back to an earlier nation-state-led world. And so we're developing these new instruments and institutions for a city-led world. Those are challenges, but they can be overcome. So I think the solutions we tend to look at out of the United States, actually many of them come out of the Nordics. So the Copenhagen City and Port Development Corporation, a publicly owned, privately driven corporation that is able to leverage the assets that the government owns to regenerate your entire harbor and the Orested district, but also to finance infrastructure. This is a new kind of hybrid public-private institution. We think it's the way that the world will ultimately develop, and that's why we spend so much time looking at models coming out of Denmark and beyond.
Well, if I look at the biggest technology challenge, it is that we today, in fact, have billions of connected devices. But if you look to the future, we'll have hundreds of billions of connected devices. And that is a game changer. And if you look to Denmark, we are very trusting people, and that is very good. But then if you look at the times now, the times of blind trust are over. So we need to think security through transparency. We need to demand transparency. That means that we need to ask the people who collect data to be transparent as to what data is collected and how do they use it. And that is something that actually impacts its regulatory things. So it's the government that needs to look into it. It's ethical dilemmas, it's the businesses, and it's us as people who need to demand transparency.
I think the biggest challenge facing us is that we're on a planet of 7 billion, rapidly moving to 9 billion people. At the same time, for the first time in history, more of us live in cities than do not. So it's the collision of these two forces that is the challenge, but also probably one of the greatest public health opportunities we've ever had. We have to approach this, specifically our buildings, we have to approach our buildings with a public health mindset. We have to think about indoor health, how the building influences us while we're inside of them, as well as how the building influences outdoor health and our environment. So I think we need a public health lens because the decisions we make today regarding our buildings will determine our health now and for generations, and that's not an exaggeration.
I think the biggest challenge we face is how do we, as we build post-industrial cities, how do we build post-managerial cities, which are focused on unlocking the full value of what it means to be human. And I think that is going to be the biggest transformation we're going to see of our cities in the next 21st century. Solution of these challenges are reimagining governance in a way that we've never done before. It involves reimagining how we digitize our cities for advancing democracy. It involves reimagining our institutional infrastructure and schools, welfare systems, which are all focused on releasing higher value ideas of being human.